keeping pace with the world of AI, wow. It feels like an Olympic sport these days, doesn't it? Constant new records being set.
It really does. And just trying to stay informed, well, that
Mhm.
can feel like a full-time job itself.
Exactly, which is precisely why we're here. Welcome to the deep dive. Think of us as your shortcut to understanding the most crucial developments without getting totally lost in the weeds.
Right. We take a curated stack of information, something specific, and really pull out the insights that matter. The aha moments, you could say.
Designed for someone like you who wants to be in the know, but, without the information overload.
Exactly. We aim for clarity without all the clutter.
Yeah.
And today, we're diving deep into the latest from the Probably Times newsletter, Volume 2.
Oh, interesting source.
Yeah, and what's kind of fascinating is this newsletter is actually generated by AI itself. And it focuses on key advancements in AI security and some really interesting new tools that are popping up.
AI writing about AI. Makes sense.
It does. And their goal, which honestly we really appreciate, is to deliver smart analysis, maybe with a bit of humor, and cut through all the usual hype you hear.
Absolutely. So, okay, for this deep dive, we're going to unpack some pretty significant news. We'll look at potential pitfalls in how AI agents communicate with each other
Yeah, that's a big one.
and explore some exciting new platforms for AI models, see how developers are maybe getting finer control over these, super powerful
On
models.
the efficiency side of things, too.
Right, efficiency. Plus, we'll cover a really important step forward in tackling the growing problem of deepfakes, which feels more relevant every day.
Definitely. Ready to jump in.
Let's do it. All right, first up, let's kick things off by looking at something that sounds a bit concerning. Agent-in-the-middle attacks, specifically on these agent-to-agent protocols.
Right. So we're seeing more and more complex AI systems relying on these autonomous agents, agents that collaborate to get tasks done. And they need to talk to each other. They communicate using protocols, and the newsletter highlights this one called A2A, agent to agent.
Okay. And as these AI systems get smarter, these networks of agents, they're becoming more like digital teams, right?
That's a good way to put it, digital collaborators. And their ability to actually work together effectively, well, it really hinges on the security, the reliability of those communication channels.
But here's where it gets interesting and maybe a little worrying. This newsletter points out a vulnerability in that A2A protocol involving something called agent cards.
Yes, the agent card.
What exactly are those, and why are they potentially a weak spot?
So think of agent cards as like digital passports for these AI agents.
Okay.
They contain information that's supposed to verify the agent's identity. This allows other agents in the system to, trust it and interact with it securely.
Makes sense, like showing your ID.
Exactly. But the vulnerability they found, it allows attackers to basically manipulate these digital IDs. They can effectively impersonate legitimate agents and just bypass the normal authentication checks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it really highlights a fundamental challenge in these distributed AI systems, doesn't it? How do you ensure identity and trust when you've got potentially hundreds or thousands of these things interacting? It's kind of a new security paradigm.
So, okay, if someone can fake these digital passports, what kind of trouble could that actually cause? What are the consequences?
Well, they could be pretty substantial. Imagine a compromised agent, one that's being impersonated. It could be instructed to perform actions it's definitely not authorized to do,
Like what?
potentially gaining access to sensitive data, maybe disrupting the whole system's operation. Think about it like having a malicious actor gain control of a trusted member of your team. They could cause chaos from the inside.
Right.
So you're looking at potential data breaches, system failures, and just a general loss of confidence in the AI's reliability,
Right.
which is huge.
That certainly raises some red flags, especially as these AI agent systems become, more common, more integrated into things.
Absolutely. It really underscores how essential it is to lock down these communication lines.
So there's the takeaway here. What needs to happen? Are there specific technologies or approaches that look promising for, tackling this authentication challenge?
Well, the immediate urgent need is for much more robust ways to verify who these agents are and validate what they're doing. We probably need to think about things like advanced encryption methods,
Okay.
maybe decentralized identity solutions like blockchain-based IDs perhaps, and definitely rigorous security testing, proactive audits to find and patch these kinds of vulnerabilities before they get exploited.
Right. Finding the holes before the bad guys do. Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears. Let's move on to something that sounds like it's trying to bring some maybe much needed structure to the AI world. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
ISNCP.
And the newsletter even dubs it the USB-C for AI. I kind of like that analogy.
It's a very fitting analogy, actually. Think about how many different devices, your phone, your hard drive, your monitor, can all connect to your computer using that standard USB-C port.
Uh-huh.
That's the kind of universal connectivity MCP is aiming for in the AI space. The problem it's trying to solve is the current fragmented landscape for integrating large language models, LLMs, with all the different tools and data sources they need.
Yeah, feels like everyone's building custom connections right now.
Exactly. Lots of custom integrations, which just isn't very efficient, and it doesn't scale well. So while that USB-C idea is catchy, the real insight here is the potential for a more, let's say, modular and composable AI architecture, moving away from these big, tightly coupled systems.
So MCP is essentially trying to create a kind of common language, a standard way for LLMs to talk to other systems, tools, data.
Precisely. It's a standardized protocol.
Yeah.
It basically outlines how LLMs can access and use external tools and data. And if it works, it can significantly simplify building AI applications. Because developers wouldn't have to keep reinventing the wheel, creating these bespoke integrations every single time they want an LLM to work with, say, a new database or a new API.
And the newsletter mentioned someone, Eligati, emphasizing reusable connectors. That sounds key.
Yeah, that's a huge potential advantage. Instead of building a unique connection for every LLM and every tool combination, developers could potentially create these reusable connectors just once
Right.
and then deploy them across multiple platforms. It's that build once, use many times idea. Could save a massive amount of time and resources.
Okay, so they give some examples in the newsletter of these MCP servers. Can you maybe walk us through a couple and explain what they actually enable? Because it looks like this could touch a lot of different areas.
Sure. Let's take the Slack MCP server example. This could allow AI assistants to be seamlessly integrated right into Slack.
Which loads of teams use already.
Exactly. So automating tasks, maybe improving team productivity, right within a platform people are using daily.
Yeah.
That feels like a very direct, immediate potential benefit.
Okay, what else?
Then there's the GitHub MCP server. This could let AI assist with managing code repositories, tracking issues, handling pull requests, basically streamlining the whole software development workflow itself.
Integration right into the developer's main tool. That seems powerful.
Very powerful. And given how many developers live on GitHub, that could also have a really widespread impact pretty quickly.
Makes sense. Any others that stand out?
Well, they also mention things like a Brave Search MCP server for privacy-focused search within AI apps, a Docker MCP server, which is interesting, allowing for secure, isolated code execution. That's crucial for stability, compatibility,
Right.
and even a single store MCP server, enabling natural language database queries. Imagine just asking your database questions in plain English. That could be a huge game changer for accessing data.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty wide range of potential applications. It really does sound like it could streamline how we build with AI.
That's the promise.
But, okay, that sounds great in theory, but what are some of the real world hurdles? Getting different companies, different developers to actually adopt a single standard like this. Are there potential downsides?
That's always the million-dollar question with standards, isn't it? Adoption always hinges on demonstrating clear, tangible benefits and overcoming, inertia. People stick with what they know. There might be concerns about, say, vendor lock-in, or whether one single standard can really be flexible enough for the incredibly diverse needs across the whole AI ecosystem. It's a valid concern.
So it needs momentum.
Exactly. But the potential payoff, that increased efficiency, that interoperability, it's a pretty strong incentive if the protocol is well designed and, importantly, if it's driven by the community, not just one company.
Definitely something to keep a close eye on then. Okay, next up, the GitHub Models Marketplace. This sounds like it's tackling a similar theme, making AI more accessible, but specifically for developers integrating models.
Precisely. Right now, the process of just finding the right AI model, then integrating it, managing it, it can be quite complex, quite time-consuming for developers.
Yeah, where do you even start?
Right. You have to navigate all these different platforms, understand various APIs, figure out how to actually deploy these things within your existing workflow. It can be a pretty significant barrier to entry.
So what's GitHub doing differently here with this marketplace?
They've essentially created a central hub. Think of it as a dedicated marketplace, but specifically for AI models. The whole idea is to be a unified platform where developers can easily discover, access, and importantly, integrate a wide variety of AI models directly into their projects.
And it's more than just a list, right? The newsletter suggested you can actually play around with the models there.
That's a key part. It's not just a static catalog. The marketplace offers several ways to actually engage with the models. There's an interactive playground
Okay.
where developers can experiment, they can try different models, maybe tweak settings, test out various prompts, see how they respond. It's very hands-on.
So you can sort of try before you buy, or try before you integrate, I guess.
Exactly. Evaluate before you commit. They also provide APIs for programmatic access, for integrating into applications, and this is really important integrations with popular development tools like Visual Studio Code.
Ah, through that AI toolkit extension they mentioned.
Yes. That means developers can work with these marketplace models directly within the coding environment they already use every day. That massively lowers the friction.
Yeah, that VS Code integration sounds incredibly useful for just smoothing out the whole development process. What kinds of models are actually available there? Is it just the big names?
It seems pretty diverse. The newsletter mentions some powerful ones like OpenAI's GPT 4.1, Meta's Llama 4 Scout 17B, and also DeepSeek V30324.
So a good mix.
Yeah, offering a really wide range of capabilities, everything from generating code and summarizing text to more complex reasoning tasks.
So the big picture here is really about lowering the barrier to entry for developers, right? Making it easier for anyone who wants to leverage AI.
Exactly. Whether you're a seasoned AI pro or someone just starting to explore what's possible, this aims to democratize access to these powerful AI capabilities.
Which could, in theory, really speed up innovation across the board in software development.
That's the hope. Making it easier for more developers to build AI into their applications could really accelerate things.
Very cool. Okay, let's switch gears a bit now and talk about making these powerful AI models maybe a bit more efficient, more practical. Google has announced Gemini 2.5 Flash
Right, the Flash model.
with this really interesting concept they're calling an adjustable thinking budget. What's the thinking behind that?
It directly addresses a pretty significant challenge with these cutting-edge AI models. They often require just enormous amounts of computational power,
Which means?
which translates directly to a higher cost to run them and potentially slower response times, latency issues.
Okay, so the thinking budget.
Right. This thinking budget in Gemini 2.5 Flash, it's an innovative feature. It essentially gives developers control over how much computational power the model is allowed to use for any specific task.
Ah, so you can kind of dial it up or down. Like you can tell it, okay, for this quick, simple task, don't go crazy, don't use all your processing power.
Precisely.
But for this really complex problem, okay, you can have more resources to think more deeply.
That's exactly the idea. Developers can set limits on the model's reasoning processes.
Yeah.
It lets them find that sweet spot, that balance. They can optimize for speed and cost for the simpler stuff, while still having the option to allocate more computational resources, more budget, for tasks that really need deeper analysis and more complex reasoning.
That sounds incredibly practical. So the model isn't just running at 100% capacity all the time, even when it doesn't need to be.
That's the core concept. By managing the, let's call it, depth of reasoning, Gemini 2.5 Flash can potentially deliver much faster responses for certain tasks and significantly reduce the operational costs for running many AI applications.
It's about tailoring the AI's capability to the actual need of the task at hand.
Exactly, making it fit for purpose rather than overkill.
And the newsletter points out that this isn't just Google, right? This fits into a broader trend.
Yes, absolutely. Google's approach here, it really reflects a growing awareness across the whole AI landscape about efficiency. We're seeing similar kinds of efforts towards optimization and resource management from other major players like OpenAI and DeepSeek.
So the focus is shifting.
It seems to be shifting, yeah, towards creating AI solutions that are not only incredibly powerful, but also resource conscious and, more appropriately sized for specific applications.
That feels like a really smart, very forward-thinking way to manage these increasingly powerful AI resources. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, finally, let's tackle a really critical issue in our digital world today, deepfakes.
Ah, yes. A huge problem.
Honor has announced a global rollout of their AI deepfake detection technology. This sounds like, very welcome news.
Absolutely. The rise of deepfakes, Their increasing sophistication, it's a serious, serious problem. It fuels misinformation, enables fraud, and just fundamentally erodes trust in the digital content we see every day.
Yeah, it's getting harder to know what's real.
Definitely. The newsletter even cites some pretty concerning statistics, something like a deepfake attack happening roughly every 5 minutes in 2024.
Wow, every 5 minutes.
And another stat suggesting that, 59% of people struggle to even tell the difference between real and AI-generated media. That really underscores how urgently we need effective detection tools.
Absolutely. So Honor is stepping in with this AI deepfake detection tech. How does it actually work? What's it looking for?
It uses some pretty sophisticated algorithms, as you'd expect. They're designed to analyze digital media videos, images, and identify these really subtle inconsistencies, telltale signs of manipulation that the human eye might miss.
Like what kind of signs?
It could be scrutinizing things like tiny pixel-level imperfections, maybe unnatural transitions at the edges where something's been inserted, inconsistencies between different frames in a video,
Okay.
or even subtle weird anomalies in facial features, like how blinking looks or skin texture appears. Things that AI generation might not get quite right yet.
And if it spots something suspicious, what happens for the user? Do they get a big red flag?
The system provides immediate warnings. It alerts the user, saying, hey, the content you're looking at might have been altered or generated.
And that detection is happening in real time.
That's the goal, yeah. Real-time detection is crucial for helping people make those informed judgments as they're encountering the media, not later.
And this isn't just a small pilot program, right? They're talking about a global rollout.
That's correct. Honor is planning to roll out this AI deepfake detection feature worldwide starting in April 2025. That's a pretty significant step towards providing widespread protection against deepfake threats.
That is definitely encouraging news, and it feels like there's broader support for this kind of thing in the industry, too.
Yes, thankfully. There are organizations like the Content Provenance and Authenticity Initiative, C2PA. They're working on establishing industry-wide standards for actually verifying where digital content came from, its authenticity.
So technical detection plus provenance standards.
Exactly. These kinds of initiatives really complement technologies like Honor's. It's about creating a more layered, comprehensive approach to fighting deepfakes and trying to safeguard the integrity of, our digital information ecosystem.
It really feels like such a necessary, proactive step to try and bolster user security in this increasingly complex digital world we live in.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally about trying to restore or at least shore up some level of trust in the digital information we consume every single day.
So, okay, let's wrap this up. To recap today's deep dive, all thanks to the latest Promptly Times newsletter.
A great source for this.
We've really covered some ground. We explored those potential vulnerabilities in how AI agents talk to each other, the whole A2A security issue.
The age cards?
Right. Then the exciting possibilities of standardized integration with things like the Model Context Protocol, the USB-C for AI,
Making connections easier?
and how platforms like the GitHub Models Marketplace are really aiming to democratize access to AI models for developers everywhere.
Lowering the barrier.
We also looked at Google's innovative thinking budget with Gemini 2.5 Flash, aiming for more efficient AI performance.
Optimizing resources.
And finally, those really crucial advancements in deepfake detection technology, like the global rollout from Honor.
A vital security step.
It's really just a snapshot, isn't it? A snapshot of an incredibly fast-moving field. And understanding these kinds of fundamental developments, well, it feels increasingly important for everyone trying to navigate this technological landscape.
It really does. The pace is just relentless.
And it does make you think, doesn't it? Consider this balance. On one hand, we're making AI much more accessible, easier to integrate. Think about that GitHub Marketplace. But on the other hand, we have these growing security concerns like the deepfake problem or those potential vulnerabilities in how AIs communicate.
It's a real tension there. Accessibility versus security. Power versus control.
Exactly. So the question maybe to leave you with is, how do we strike that right balance? What responsibility do the creators of these technologies, and maybe us as users too, have in navigating this rapidly evolving landscape? Where does that responsibility lie?
That's a deep question. Definitely something to ponder. How do we harness the power responsibly?
It really is something to think about as you continue to learn about this fascinating field. Maybe you'll even start to consider which of these developments we talked about today might have the biggest impact on your own work, or just your own interests down the line.
Indeed. The journey of understanding AI, it's definitely a continuous one. And hopefully this deep dive has given you some valuable insights to chew on.